how are you doing? How have you been? You're welcome back to another vlog, and if it's your first time stopping on this channel, my name is Oluwapolumi and I am a lawyer and business analyst living in Lagos, Nigeria, and I love to make videos about working in tech and working as a business analyst in Nigeria, in Lagos precisely, and also about working of things I find interesting generally, to be very honest, But of late, it's been mostly about, working in tech or working as a business analyst. So please do not make it your last. Please do subscribe. If you find things that I share quite insightful, please don't forget to leave your comments in the comments section and share your insights as well. Please don't forget to share with your loved ones and all that good stuff. And if you're an OG already, meaning if you're an OG on this channel, you're welcome back. Thank you for always coming back to this channel. It gladdens my heart and it makes all this worth it. You're welcome back to my channel, guys. So yes, guys, on today's channel, as the thumbnail or title already says, I'm going to be talking about documents that business analysts make use of, documents that we draft or documents that we create during the line of work or during us carrying out our duties of business analysis. So I'm going to be focusing on this documentation and explaining what each document means and what it does. And I know that some of these documents I must have maybe touched on when I was talking about phrases or words or terminologies that business analysts use or anything. I might have mentioned one or two of it in videos in time past. So of course I'll be putting some of the videos in the description for you to check of all videos that I've made. But essentially this video is going to birth a probability of me doing hands-on or showing how specifically these documents are made or how these documentations are made. Please let me know in the comment section if that's something that interests you. If I get enough interest in the comment section, I would it would encourage me to do hands-on or show how to create specific documents that I mentioned today in this vlog, essentially. Thank you. So let's get right into it. So it's my number one document that I'm very sure by now you have heard it. I've said it a couple of times in my previous video. Go and watch it. I'm sure you've heard it from me. As in my first document, which is most likely used in waterfall environments. So if you are wondering what waterfall environment is, like majorly like an environment that that is a bit more traditional, you understand, that focuses a lot on documentation, processes, documentation before implementation starts, as opposed to agile, which kind of encourages iteration, documents as well, but not so much emphasis is made on huge bulk documentation before work starts and all that. Pretty much that document is definitely BRD. For BRD, business requirement document. Some people would like to call it functional requirement document. Some people call it system requirement specifications, RS, essentially. But this document pretty much details what the requirements for this project is. So essentially, just like the name says, business requirement document. What is the requirements of the stakeholder, right? The business in this case. What is their requirements? What do they require for this solution to go live, right? They have a need, right, that we're trying to address. And because they have a need, it kind of means that they also have requirements that must be put into consideration, when the development team comprising of the business analyst, begins to have these big visions in mind, have dreams. Essentially, whatever the ideas or the fantastic dreams that or the fantastic capabilities that a developer has to kind of be guided by the business requirement document, because business requirement document, like it says, is going to contain all the requirements available, all the requirements needed, all the requirements that the solution must abide by. Before I proceed, I'd like to state that the way and manner that I'm itemizing this document, there's no procedure or protocol to it. It's not to say this comes first or this comes second, or what have you. It's not following any order. I am just mentioning this document as without having an order in mind, essentially, pretty much. Yeah, so number two document that B is actually produced. I also have mentioned this before in my past videos, about 2 videos now. User story, right? User story is used to kind of tell a story end to end of how a user is going to use the platform. It will tell a story of who the user that wants to use the platform is, the system is, why the user wants to be able to use the system, and what the user wants to be able to use the system for. PA should definitely be able to write user stories for each scenario and each user that would interact with the system. Do you understand? So depending on the type of system it is, the type of solution it is, a business analyst has to be able to visualize and put down the type of users that will be able to use the system, and how they are trying to use the system, and why they're trying to use the system, and what they're trying to use the system for, essentially. So this is definitely, it's not even negotiable. It would also be a good note to know that user stories kind of also contain acceptance criteria, and acceptance criteria essentially kind of mean like a threshold for which this feature or this solution will be accepted. So if I say a user story and this is a user story and this is what customer is going to do, essentially I'm representing a feature. I'm using a feature to represent, I'm using a user story to represent a feature. And so acceptance criteria is telling the development team that, okay, so for me to say that this feature has passed, this must be included based off of what the information that we got from user story that the user wants to be able to use the platform for. Another documentation that business analysts make use of or create is use cases, right? Essentially, use cases that are used to find out how the users are going to use the system. So please note that these things can look a bit similar but definitely look different. But essentially, the essence of these things is so that we get to the very tiniest detail, will fulfill the need of the users, the solution that we're trying to create, so that to the very core and to the very granular detail, we are fulfilled and we have looked at it thoroughly from a user's perspective, and we are fulfilling the need of the user, and we are giving value to the user. Does that make sense? So use cases pretty much depict what a user or how a user is going to be using or interacting with a system, just like it says use case. So this is another documentation that is non-negotiable. A BA has to be able to come up with a use case when required. So for my number 4, it's another documentation that that I personally like, and it's a document that a business analyst should be able to make use of, although the application of this particular document differs from environment to environment. But it's what we call a gap analysis, right? A gap analysis document is where you kind of analyze the current state of the solution that you're trying to come up with, or that you're trying to enhance or rectify or make better. You're analyzing the current state, and you're also looking at the future state. And you so a current state, for some people, you hear as is, meaning as it is today now, and to be is the future state. And you're doing a gap analysis of how do we get from point A to point B. Does that make sense? How do we get from the current state to the future state? So this is where a gap analysis documentation pretty much comes in. Now to my number five. My number five documents that you must be able to create, or you must be able to come up with. You know, organizations to organizations, some might differ, right? But essentially, the basics of it, you must be able to come up with this as a business analyst. And this document is user acceptance test script, right? In some organizations, they say, oh, it's the business or it's the product owner that comes up with the test, and rightly so, essentially, because when you look at the crux of it, um, if you're writing a user acceptance test script, you must be coming from an objective standpoint, and you must be coming from strictly the user's standpoint, um, looking at what based off of the user needs, what exactly we are testing for you to see, not what you have built for us to test, but it should be based off of what you know we have, what we expect that this solution should have, not what you have built and you're just telling us to test. So essentially, that's why people are of the school of thought that, which I quite agree, that business owners should be the one to um, come up with the user acceptance test script. And there's a part of Scrum practice that kind of that upholds this, even agile practice that upholds this, essentially. But business analysts should definitely be able to come up with a user acceptance test script. And what's a user acceptance test script? Essentially, a user acceptance test script, is kind of low level, right? Breaking down each feature, looking at the scope and everything and the documents, looking at the scope and what the solution is supposed to fulfill. This now breaks it down and says, so you typically see, oh, I should be able to log into the application. Oh, user logs into the application. Task one, user is able to see the landing page. User does this, user this. So essentially, the test script, breaks down all these features into tasks for the user to be able to, or the tester, or the user to be able to look at it and say, okay, user, okay, pass, fail. Oh, I was not able to do this in the application. Essentially, that's what the test script, does, and that's what the test script enables, allows, or um what's that English? Oh yeah, that's what the test script enables, in the software development life cycle. So it's a pretty much important and integral part, of your process as a business analyst. This is why I'm saying that it's a document that is, very important for you to be able to do. Even if in your organization, business owners do it, you should be able to, because you never can tell where you find yourself tomorrow, right? In my organization, I do it as a business analyst. So you see what I'm saying? Number six is what we call a business case. Now know that this is subjective, and this is per organization. Not all organizations, require a business analyst to come up with a business case. And a business case would essentially, depending on the approach and the role that the business analyst is playing in the organization, but a business case would typically be like a justification document. In it, in its essence, it's like a justification document. It's like you're making a case for why we should go with this solution or why we should approach this solution in this manner. Does that make sense? You're saying, oh, we're trying to make an enhancement. So why should we go with this approach that you've identified? You know that I know I mentioned it in the previous vlog that you are supposed to identify different approaches, to solving a need, right? So you are now saying for this need or for this approach that I've identified, you're now forming like a justification around it, justification for it, and you're presenting to the stakeholders and saying, guys, I've looked at all these approaches, I've looked at them, this is the best one, and this is why. And so you're going to be looking at feasibility. In business case, you see things like feasibility studies, you of course see, gap analysis in it, you see personas, you see a lot of things that kind of enhances and make bulkifies the case you're trying to make, if that makes any sense, right? That sells the approach in such a way that they are going to be able to buy it. You're looking at the cost benefit analysis. You're seeing the cost benefit and you're saying, oh, in year one, if you go with this approach, by year two, we're going to be making this so amount of money. Okay, I'm trying to sell this approach to the stakeholders in such a way that they understand. They're looking at numbers and say, okay, this seems viable. Based off of what you've sold to us, this looks like something that we will be interested in going with and makes sense. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying. It's not in all organizations that business analysts do, but it's definitely a documentation that you should, as a business analyst, be able to do, because like I said, you cannot restrict yourself simply to you cannot restrict yourself simply to the knowledge or the way a particular organization does things. What happens, you have to be able to transcend beyond the current organization that you work in. Seven is user persona, right? For user personas, it allows you to be able to tell a story for the type of users that will be using your application. It allows you to know your users on a personal level. It allows you to identify, what they do, understand, why they want to use the application in the way they want to use the application. So typically, a user persona, you are looking at, what the user persona does for a living, who they are, their students, who they are essentially, what are their pain points as regards this application, what's their goal, what are they trying to get from this application. It's just, again, just like I mentioned before, it's just so that you are delivering what users want, not what you think or not what your stakeholders think that the users want. It enables you to see what the users want, the specific feature that the users would like to have, not what you think is aesthetically pleasing. You get what I mean? So user personas identifies your user by name. Your, your pictures, you're seeing them, you're seeing their name, you're seeing their goals, you're seeing where they work, you're seeing what the course they're studying in school and stuff like that. Their pain points. When I when a banker uses this application versus when a student uses the application, what they are trying to get from the application would most likely be different, because they're seeing it from two different perspectives. An adult, most likely an adult who is a working class person, and a maybe a teenager or a Gen Z or just a generally young person, that's a student using the same application. Their outcome, their objective, their goals, their pain points is very different. So putting a name to your personas and your users and understanding them individually makes it easier for you to, you know, come up with a holistic approach to solving a need. Another document that I like, number 8, is user journey mapping, right? So What does user journey mapping mean? Essentially allows you to identify pain points and users' pain points in relation to the side by side with the responsibility of the organization to fulfill each pain point. So you are looking at these users' pain points or users' activities right from the point of when they become aware of the product. What emotions do you want them to feel when they become aware of the product, and which team in the organization is responsible for them feeling that pain point or even becoming aware of that product, e.g. for awareness, maybe that will come from like a marketing thing, so that it kind of makes you have like an it kind of looks like an organization chart mapping the responsibility of everybody in the organization when it comes to this product. So the responsibility of everybody in the organization as against a user's feelings at every point when they interface with everybody in the organization through the product. If that makes any sense. I could have said it better than that, but I hope that makes sense. But again, like I said, if you would like me to show how each of these documents are, created in a one-on-one, like showing having specific videos or videos where I address how each of these documents are created, please let me know in the comment section. Please let me know. I'll be checking the comments and we knowing when I see the request, right? One that has the most requests is the one that wants to do the video first. How about that? Another document is, which is number 9, is a requirement management plan, right? And so this will typically come to play where you have, had, you understand the brief of the products that you are trying to work on, and maybe you had like you had an interaction with the stakeholders, the first interaction with them, and you kind of understand what they're trying to achieve, and you kind of have a scope of work in mind. So this is a document that kind of allows you to say, okay, this is how we're going to. I hear you, I see you, I see that this is what you're trying to achieve. This business analyst, this management, this plan is going to allow me to itemize the work that it will take us to get, to be able to address the need that you want. And this is the plan. So now this plan is going to guide, is what you as a business analyst is going to use to manage the product from beginning till the end. Now, it's also important to carry your stakeholders, the key stakeholders along in the management plan, so that they are aware of the plan they're going to be putting into place, and so that essentially there are no surprises. They're pretty much aware from the get-go. Number 10 is another document that a business analyst should definitely know how to create, because I know that most business analysts, a lot of times you have to interface with external stakeholders, or you have to interface with, by external stakeholders, I mean you have to interface with external vendors, right? It's not at all times that some of the applications that you are coming up with are readily available within your organization. Sometimes you need to outsource for them. And so this RFP essentially stands for request for proposal. So it's a document that you come up with to send out to vendors and asking them, oh, this is what we're trying to achieve as an organization, and based off of what we are trying to achieve as an organization as included in this RFP. We would like to request for a proposal for you bidding and showing us that you can deliver and you can provide us with what we're trying to, the solution that we're trying to come up with. And so an RFP will usually contain like a request for cost, like what will it take us to be able to do this, what are the technical things that would require you doing this for us, essentially, like breakdown if we were supposed to do this actually, just like tell us how can you achieve this and how can you build the solution for us. So you typically send it to one, two, or three, four, five vendors, and you of course select best of the best from the feedbacks that you get. And now we have come to the end of the video. Thank you so much. If you watched it to this very end, thank you so much. You make it all worth it. In Lagos, Nigeria currently, and it is. I'm making this video on a Sunday night, and I think it's about 10 p.m. already, right? And so this shooting videos can take quite a lot from me. And so when I see that people watch it and the feedback, trust me, it just tells me that keep going. Yeah, you're doing something right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your love, for watching my videos, subscribing. I see the subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you to the old subscribers. I love you guys so much. And just like I said, please let me know in the comment section, specific details on each of the documents that I mentioned to in this vlog, specific ones that you want me to show how they are done, so that people can be you can put a finger to it on how it's done, as opposed to me just seeing it, right? So let me know in the comment section. The highest one, the one with the highest comment, or the documents that has the highest interest, of course I will do that first. So thank you so much, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share your comments in the comment section, don't forget to share with your loved ones, don't forget to like, all that good stuff, essentially. Until my next vlog, is love and light. Adios.